Well, hello my little beauties, it's David Connolly here, and I want to chip in my 2 cents regarding this web development bootcamp discussion that has been going on YouTube. So the vibe is, are web development bootcamps worth it? Now, I have never been to a web development bootcamp, I've never held one, and I have no plans of doing so, as a matter of fact. I have been to a stock market, I wouldn't call it a boot camp, it was kind of a seminar that went on for 3 days. It was not cheap, and I went on 2011, and let me tell you folks, I had a fantastic experience. Those people who say that you could learn all of this stuff on, Treehouse or YouTube or books or whatever, they are right. Technically that information is there, but there's 3 things I would suggest that you get from a boot camp that you won't get from any of those places. First of all, you're going to get a certain sense of urgency. Now, I have a friend who happens to have been fired from her job on Friday or maybe Thursday last week. And she's in a pretty bad place. I've known her for about 14 years, and I said I would give her a hand and show her some web development stuff. And I even said, look, I'm gonna give you 5 days training, half an hour a day, and it's going to be one-on-one, and at the end of the 5 days I'm going to hire you. I'm going to hire you to do I said I'll hire you to do a CSS conversion. It'll be 2 hours work. I'll give you 200 quid. You'll make 100 quid an hour. That's a good start, right? So all she has to do is play ball with me for half an hour, and I've been showing her the HTML codes, just the basic stuff. Here's HTML, here's a paragraph tag, really basic. 5 half-hour sessions. At the end of it, you get hired, and I'd probably pass more work on. Let me tell you something. She is going to fuck this up, okay? And if she watches this video, that's fine. I'll be glad to see this in person. She's going to fuck this up, and she's going to fuck it up probably tonight, and I'm going to walk out. The reason is, she's not motivated. Now, I could give her the greatest Oscar-winning speech ever, and I could say, hey, this is it, you're a champion, and blah, blah, blah. And I think I can do those speeches, right? But nothing is going to give her the motivation that she needs. She's going to blow it, And by the way, just a quick edit. If you're wondering why... Am I recording? If you're wondering why I think that this is the case, it's because I've been giving her these little tasks. So I'll show her something and say, right, so tomorrow, could you do blah, blah, blah? And then as soon as I've said that and I've finished, she starts going, right, I'm just going to do it now. I'll get it out the way. And just do it now. Now that is very well intentioned, and you may think that that's excellent and that's enthusiastic and all of that, but it's actually stupid, and it tells me that it's not going to work. Because guys like me, when I was learning this, I was not saying, I'll do it now, have it finished in 10 minutes, and then I can go watch the ball game. Yay! That's not how it works, folks. It's not something that you do the thing and then you do 10 minutes. There's a reason why people are paying. Well, I'm not making that much these days. I'm actually, which is another story. But there's a reason why people are paying fortunes for web developers. Some web developers. And it's because they're good. And the reason why they're good is because it's their life. It's not some thing that you say, I'll do the homework, finish early. It's not like that. We need more, If you cannot self-motivate, then you're going to be in big, big trouble in this game. Now, if I was to say to her, give me 20 grand, give me 20,000 quid, and if you listen, and if you follow up, then you get your 20 grand back plus interest. I have a sneaky suspicion that she would suddenly be highly motivated. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so you're going to get the motivation factor. You're going to get the schedulization factor. So to go in somewhere and say, I'm going to walk out in 2 weeks' time an expert in blankety blank blank blank, that has massive, massive value. And the third thing is, and this is really something that we who have been involved in the industry a while, we need to think about this, because the third thing is, I would speculate that in a boot camp, for the prices they're charging, you would be very much more than welcome to ask questions, even stupid questions, and to get clarification, and to basically be a pain in the arse for 2 weeks. And that's cool. And you're not a pain in the arse because you've paid. Those three things are incredibly valuable, in my opinion. I absolutely get the fact that, like, if you could take a 19-year-old Steph Mischuk, he would not need to go to a boot camp. I've never met Steph Mischuk in person. I just mentioned him. He's a guy that, I was watching him speaking about this. But there's a guy who I would speculate that he many times has sat up till 4 a.m, maybe even beyond that, just all day, all night, just coding, and he just loves it. And a guy like that does not need motivation, right, from anywhere. He has a brain that's geared towards this stuff, and when he writes a script and it works, he probably has all sorts of neural pathways going, yeah, and it makes him feel good. Now, I have lots of friends who are in that category. My friend Derek McLean, I can literally phone him at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and say, so what are you looking at just now? And he'll say, well, I'm doing an if statement. The guy codes easily 15 to 20 hours a day. I mean, it's like sleep is just such a pain in the neck, interrupts the coding. Now, people like that are very special. They don't need boot camps, right? The challenge is that people like that don't realise how special they are, right? Talking about people like Derek McLean and Steph Mischuk and people that I would consider to be kind of superstar developers, they don't realise that what they have, both in terms of their ability to comprehend stuff and learn it, and in terms of their own self-motivation powers, these things are very, very special as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think that you can teach that stuff. I don't even think you can do a great pep talk. You could hire Sylvester Stallone to do a speech about why you should stay up coding till midnight, and I don't think it's going to work. I do not like the game of Sudoku, okay? Somebody showed me it a few years ago, and it was the numbers, and it was Sudoku, and when I tried it, I was like, what's the bloody point? And they were like, but it's Sudoku. Now, you could do anything you want. I'm never going to be into the game of Sudoku. It just doesn't turn me on, And the vast majority of people are like that. They fall into that category, right? They will not be, obsessive. Look at Michael Thomas, right? Now, by the way, watch some of his earlier videos when he's starting up, if they're still on. And you can see in the guy's face, this is a guy who has been up all day and all night, This is a guy who has passion and who is obsessed with coding. And you can see that. Now, I cannot teach that. Nobody from Udemy can. Nobody from anywhere can. What the boot camps will do is they'll give you that incentive. Oh, you're going to mess around, right? You've just wasted 20,000 quid. Chico. We of the web development community who have been around for a while, we need to really look at ourselves here, because I think that the fact that boot camps are going on and charging 20,000 or whatever is really an indication that we are doing something wrong. And I'm talking about people like me, people who do tutorials and stuff. We are doing something wrong, and we are failing newcomers, because how bad must the teaching be for people to just say, I'm just going to go to a boot camp? And who can blame them? there comes a certain point in a guy's life where you just don't give a shit anymore. And I've kind of reached that stage, and I've decided that I've had it with the Tony Robbins impression. I've had it with trying to be all smiles and sunshine and pretending everything's okay. If something is bullshit, then I'm going to call it out. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was on YouTube and there was a speech from some JavaScript conference. And there was a gal speaking. I didn't catch her name, but you'll see her a few days ago. And she presents very well. And she's very attractive. And she speaks confidently and everything. And she was at this conference and she was doing a speech about JavaScript. Now, if you watch that, the presentation is excellent. Yes, she has a nice voice and everything, and better looking than me, probably much more charismatic and everything. However, the information was garbage. And what's interesting about it is that when you look at the comments, have a look at the comments, right? Everybody, I can't remember her name, starts with the letter A. Everybody in the comments is like, this is awesome. I've been waiting years for this. Yay. And I'm looking at the comments and I'm listening. And I've been doing this for 21 years. And I'm listening to this person. Presumably people have paid to be here. And I'm thinking, what the fuck's she talking about? And it seems to me that the standard of teaching in the web development community, places like here, Udemy, Amazon, in general, the standard of teaching is crap. And that's our problem. That's the problem of a guy like me, you know. I think it's a disgrace when I go on to Stack Overflow, or as I like to call it, CAC Overflow, and I see people asking perfectly reasonable questions. Something like, what's the difference between React and Angular? And time after time, some do-gooder, some pillar of the community appears to shine a light and ridicule that person and say, that question doesn't belong here, you know. And we've created a situation where people are afraid to ask questions. How many times have you been on a web development forum, let's say, and you see someone ask something and then somebody says, away and go and read the manual. Go read the manual. As if you're an idiot because you never read this in the manual. Well, I have news. Sometimes the manual just sucks. Has anyone ever thought of that? Sometimes the user guide sucks, you know. Did you factor that into your bullshit? Probably not. And as a matter of fact, that is why on the Insider Club discussion forum, when I made that forum, and I built the thing in 2 hours, right, from scratch. And when I built it, I put a message across the top, and the message says there is only one rule. There is only one rule. Do not tell people to go and read the manual, because sometimes the manual sucks. And every single page of the Insider Club discussion forum says that, and it's probably the greatest thing I've ever done in my whole life. So we who do tutorials, who are more experienced and who talk about this stuff, we need to start thinking about how we are teaching, because what I'm seeing is absolute crap. You see these web development conferences that I'm looking at, and I've looked at so many of them. LaraCon, the JavaScript thing. I've had a look at Symphony conferences, stuff like that. I've had a look at several Angular things online. I've just watched the conferences. And the whole vibe is a big game of let's see who can sound like the most intelligent, you know? And it's just one person after another going, and the audience are participating in this bullshit game, and it's like, yay, he sounds intelligent, you know? And it's a load of crap. We need to change the culture. We need to change the teaching, okay? Sometimes when I post tutorials, people leave a message and they say, this is really easy, when are you going to do the difficult stuff? And I have to tell you, I feel so good when people say that, because I want to be patronizing. I want it to be easy. Instead of people like me pointing fingers at the bootcamp guys and saying, that's a rip-off, we should be pointing fingers at ourselves. We should be saying, what on earth have we done wrong that has ended up with this scenario where people are paying 20 grand to learn stuff that they could probably pick up on YouTube for free? Something's not right there, you know? So this is where the finger of blame goes. And as for the boot camps, I think it's a good idea. I think it's actually an excellent idea. Really, if you understand psychology, you'll know what I mean. I used to do a little bit of roadie work. You'd never guess, but I roadied for U2. You know, dude that lifts the guitars on the stage. I roadied for U2, Jimmy Page. I think, this is embarrassing, I think the Spice Girls. And I did a little bit of roadieing. And the funny thing is, when you were roadieing, you never really enjoyed the gigs. You got free access and all that, but you'd just be like, you know, it's only Jimmy Page, it's only U2, right? But see, when you actually pay to go to those events, you're like, yay, and you kind of get into it. Psychology is a funny thing. I understand psychology, and that's why I think the boot camps are a good idea. So there you go. DC has spoken, and may you have a fun-packed day.